Yo, it's your homeboy Kiiro in the building. Welcome to another episode of my open discussion series. In this episode, I talk about the extremely childish ongoing hate in the YouTube anime community. Um, a brief example of this hate is sort of Pepsi versus Coke. Now, some people say, I've been drinking Pepsi since I was small, and Coke tastes like rat piss. And some Coke people say the same thing about Pepsi, and I think it's just extremely childish. Both are good drinks, and you can drink both drinks. Most people can, anyways. So you're only making yourself look stupid by fighting this imaginary battle that you think you're winning. You're not winning any battle because there is no war, there is no battle. You're just a fool playing with air. And we have a very similar case in the YouTube anime community. But before I go on, I would like to point out or highlight that the people who hate aren't restricted to people who have a bias to a certain series over others. There's also people who just hate because they are sheep, and some people they follow don't like the series, and they just hop along the bandwagon and shit like that. So that's the second group. But generally, the haters are divided into these two groups. I'll further highlight or state that there's a difference between hate and criticism. Now, criticism is an action, whereas hate is an actual emotion and behavior. So you're gonna do a bunch of different shit because of your hate, whereas criticism is just one action. So someone who hates a series can criticize it, and their criticism might be correct, but that wouldn't change the fact that the criticism comes from or spawns from hate. So somebody can hate and criticize at the same time. Someone can just criticize, and someone can just hate a series and do other stuff apart from criticize it. So that's another thing I want to make clear. Pardon the background noise in case you hear it. So back to my point. So one good example of this Pepsi Coke thing is Naruto and One Piece. So for a long time, Bleach is no longer as popular as it used to be. A lot of people fell off from Bleach around the Fullbang arc, so it's no longer there. But if Kubo didn't really, mess the Fullbang arc the way he did, if he kept it as good as it was the previous arcs and shit, in fact, I don't really think it's the full bearing arc, but whatever. I'm not gonna go into that. The point is, Bleach fell off, but before it was Naruto, One Piece, and Bleach, and these three were like Pepsi, Coke, and some other random drink that's competing with them. Just imagine one for the sake of this discussion. And so you would have One Piece tards being like, "Oh, Naruto and Bleach suck." Then you'd have Naruto tards like, "One Piece is garbage. It's just childish." And Bleach, ha! And then you would have Bleach tards that would come up with some other nonsense that you should just once again imagine for the sake of this discussion. And that's basically the Pepsi and Coke type of fanboys, and they hate because they think they're winning some imaginary war by bashing a different series. You do know it is possible to read two series. You do know it is possible to enjoy two series. It's ridiculous and it's childish, and I do not understand it one bit. And this extends to stuff outside the anime community. So you might have people say, oh, consoles are a good example, but I'm not going to go into the console thing because I don't want those people coming here anyway. Console fanboys and shit. But that's something that's a very good example. People compare their consoles to other consoles when you can totally own two consoles. You can totally enjoy both consoles. Does it matter whether you prefer? Doesn't matter what other people think. The console, your experience with the console is important to you. Other people really don't care that much. They're really not going to benefit from learning whether you like or dislike a console. It's just it's childish, and I think you're getting the point. So let me wrap that up. Now, in the anime community, we have a lot of young people, and that is very understandable. That is the nature of this community, and it's understandable for young people to do childish things. Hence the word childish. But the problem is, some people carry this on with them as they grow older, and we have a lot of grown men and grown women, but mainly men because there's mainly dudes in the community, acting like kids and fighting these imaginary wars because they like one series or the other. Um, Now the second thing I'm going to talk about is the sheep who hate because some big YouTuber or whatever, or some for some other reason they're just following the herd and hating on a specific series. So for the first type of hate, which is the console fanboy mentality, One Piece is a good example of a victim. You have people who are interested in other series or who have other series as their favorites who hate on One Piece, because it competes with their series. So there's this imaginary war that they think they're winning, but they don't realize that they're making fools out of themselves. Now we have the second thing I'm talking about, which is the sheep mentality, and a good example of this would be Fairy Tale. Now, I don't like Fairy Tale. I don't watch it. I don't read it. And criticism, like I said, there's a difference between hate and criticism. It is perfectly fine to criticize a series, whether it's bullshit or not, whether you're right or not. It is perfectly a-okay to criticize a series. But then, criticism is an action, but your behavior is a different thing. And when you criticize a series, whether you just woke up from sleep and the first thing you do is go online and start criticizing it, quote unquote criticizing it, or whether you make memes or whatever to criticize it, and you do all these other stuff, and you just go the extra mile to try and make the series look bad, or to try and laugh and poke at the series and make fun of the series. That is hate. That is undeniable hate. And this also goes to the console fanboy thing. However, there is a difference, and that's just because both versions are hate. So I can be an Xbox fanboy who hates the PS, or I could be a PS fanboy that hates the Xbox. Because we have that war going on. However, this is a different case, and the case isn't that Fairy Tail is competing with one of your series, but more of the fact that a lot of people are criticizing it, so you just jump in. So I don't criticize Fairy Tail because I don't read it and all that. Like I did check out a few episodes, I didn't like them, and I dropped the series. And that's the difference between hate and criticism. I can criticize that those few episodes I watched or whatever, but for me to have an agenda, to wake up in the morning, brush my teeth, go online, and start bashing the series, that is hate. That is childish. That is foolish. That is moronic. And I don't think I need to use any more adjectives to describe that, but you get the point. At the end of the day, if you have an entire Bible or dictionary worth of words to say to criticize a series, then you really should drop a series or try and forget about it. Like if I watched a movie, no, let's say I ate a meal and this was the worst tasting meal of my life. It tasted like dog shit, literally dog shit, or vomit or something disgusting. The logical person, the sane person, would try and forget about that meal. The sane person wouldn't go to that restaurant every day to because that's just a waste of time and you accomplish pretty much nothing. Or another example is people who, well, this is an example, but this is just something that goes on. People, I ask certain people, okay, you're bashing the series. Do you read it? They say yes. I say, why? They say they enjoy the series. I'm like, if you enjoy the series, then why are you doing this? You know what I'm saying? If the series is that bad that you have to talk about it every day of every week, then you really should consider dropping it. If you're eating dog shit, don't continue chewing. Spit it out. Stop eating the food. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference between eating the best meal of your life and here's an example. You're eating the best meal like eating your entire life. You find a single hair in the meal. Now what I would do is I would remove the hair and continue eating. I might not like that there was a hair in it, but that's not gonna change the fact that this was the best meal I've eaten in my entire life. I'm gonna finish that. I'm gonna finish that bitch. You know what I'm saying? However, if this was dog shit, after the first spoon, I stop. That's what happened with me and Fairy Tail. Now I'm not saying it was dog shit. I didn't get that far into the series. It just wasn't working for me, and I was like, I'm not that interested. I'm not gonna continue. It wasn't dog shit. But don't compare the two examples. But that's just a good example. So if I was watching a series and it was that bad, or it just wasn't compatible with me, I would drop it. I wouldn't continue reading it and making myself suffer. That's just insane. That's just ridiculous. It makes no sense. One example of a series that suffers from both the war thing, the war fanboys or the war haters and the sheep haters is Naruto. Now, a lot of this, in my opinion at least, there's a lot of wrong things in Naruto. But on the other hand, there's a lot of right things in Naruto. You could compare it to that best meal thing. So these tiny things aren't gonna stop me from liking the series or finishing my meal. You know what I'm saying? Um, and that's the way it goes. I'm not force feeding myself to finish the series. I could drop it. I really couldn't care less and just drop it if it was that bad. But no, I generally enjoy the series and I want to finish it. Just like the meal, I enjoy this meal. I'm gonna finish every single thing that's on my plate. And so you have the war thing going on, which is understandable because that's just the nature of popular manga or big manga. But then you have the sheep as well, who they don't necessarily have that kind of grudge or hate that the people in the war do, or the people who are fighting this imaginary war do, but rather because it's sort of trending or popular to bash the series, they hop on the bandwagon. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's those are like the three good examples. One Piece is like an example of a series who is in this whole console fanboy type of hate going on and affecting it. Then you have Fairy Tail, which it really isn't considered. I mean, it is a really big manga, but it's not really, it doesn't really have any war going on between like Fairy Tail fans versus Naruto fans or anything like that. But what you do have is sort of sheep who really don't know shit about the series bashing it, because I can guarantee you the series is not bad. It's not my cup of tea, but it's not bad. If it was bad, it wouldn't be doing as well as it does. That's factual. And then you have a series like Naruto, which has both the fans from other top series hating it because war, envy, beef, whatever you want to say it, however you want to consider it. And then you have, you know, the Pepsi Coke people, and then you have the sheep who are jumping in on it because, you know, right now with this arc, this is one of the, if you, this is probably, you know, this arc has had a bunch of terrible shit happen in it, especially the last few chapters with Kage and shit, and you know that's definitely garbage. But you see, there's a difference between bashing the hair that I find in my meal and bashing the entire meal, and that's what people are doing. They're not bashing these things that they don't like that happen in Naruto. They're bashing the entire series, and that's the same thing for, you know, One Piece or Fairy Tail or whatever other series is being hated on. That's the difference between criticism and hate. You know, well, that isn't I've already explained the difference, but that is one example of differentiating the two things. And once again, it's easy to, I'm not easy, sorry, but it is, there's nothing wrong at all with criticizing a series. You know, you have every right to speak your opinion, and I do the same thing. But it's an entirely different thing to have an agenda and to just hate on the series so that you can win some imaginary war, or just because, you know, your friends are doing it, or this YouTuber that you subscribe to does it, or whatever other fucked up reason you have for hating a series. You know, if you don't like a series, drop it. If you're eating dog shit, you spit it out. That's the way sane people act. And if you're saying, you know, you would have you'll understand where I'm coming from. You know, you might be doing this unconsciously, especially if you're like one of the console fanboy type of. If you're under that bracket, then it's very easy for you to do this thing unconsciously. But whatever the point is, you know, hopefully you've watched this video, you've taken something in. If you are a hater of some other series, and you know you're gonna change your ways, and if you don't like a series, just don't give a shit. Just let the series be. You know, if you have any criticism, you know, bring it up, talk about it whenever the case comes up. But you know, if you generally don't like a series, then it's fine not to not like it. But then again, you know, here's a final example, because I'm about to wrap this video up. Let's say I'm a vegetarian and I don't like meat. Let's say I don't like the taste of meat or whatever. I'm gonna look like a complete moron just bashing meat or people who eat meat every single day of my life. Do you understand where I'm coming from? Hopefully you do, but you know, that's the final example. I've said pretty much everything I need to say. This was really supposed to be a short video, but I didn't really know where I was going with this. It was just kind of off the top of my head. Forgive me about that. But anyways, that's all I have to say. Thank you for chilling all the way to the end. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good shit. And as always, thank you guys for watching.